Hi, this is Maginoni, and here's some comic reviews for you. We have SpiderMen #1 versus 3 of 6, and Avengers 27. I also got a new cam, so let me know what you guys think of the quality of the video. From what I can tell, it looks like it's been improved a little bit. Let's deal with Avengers #27 first. Now, this here basically is right before we get the Phoenix Force 5, which really reminds me of some sick and twisted Marvel version of Super Sentai, with Cyclops being the Red Ranger, the white Emma Frost being the White Ranger, Magic in some weird perverted way it's the Pink Ranger, Colossus is probably like the Yellow Ranger. It's really twisted, I guess you can say, in that kind of a way. But anyways, what we're dealing with here is Marvel Boy or Protector and his betrayal against the Avengers, and what the Kree's plans are basically what they want to do. And in a nutshell, what their main goal is to take this Phoenix power, use it for themselves, and let the Earth basically die, because that's the right thing to do. And like Marvel Boy realizes, hey, what I did was wrong, and unfortunately, the Avengers don't take his betrayal kindly. He's basically on their S list, and they basically, kicked him off the planet Earth. So I'm really curious to see where this is going to go, at least from this point on, because I don't think, Beast and Miss Marvel and Thor and those guys, they're not going to take too kindly to even entertaining the idea of listening to him. Now, there's a part of me that really hates the direction this went in, because I really like Marvel Boy, and I feel that they never really gave him a chance to shine, and they're basically just, from initial appearances, they're just throwing him, to the wind. But I can only be hopeful that there's something good that's going to happen out of this. But we'll see. We'll see how that's going to go. Versus #3. What we get, we're treated to Colossus versus the Thing and Magic versus Black Widow. Now, the really, really sad thing about this is you have Colossus fighting the Red Hulk. And for the most part, Colossus is holding his own, and the Red Hulk just goes, I'm sick of this battle, and he just throws him out. Just picks him up and throws him away. And I'm like, this has got to be like the worst insult to Colossus ever, where a fellow superhero in the middle of a Versus book just dismisses him entirely. And then I realized who wrote it, and it was Jeff Loeb, and it all made sense from there. Then we get Colossus fighting the Thing, and Colossus keeps spouting out, I am indestructible, or something to that effect. And you can almost turn this thing into like a drinking game, with the amount of times he said those, I am unstoppable in this whole mini-series, which is insane when you think about it. And then spoiler alert, this is where the tide starts turning and the X-Men start winning. Personally, I'm also thinking the fun facts are getting kind of old, and I think that's just because it's just my total displeasure with the direction the series is going. Now, you have Magic and Black Widow. Now, I understand that they were saying at the beginning that this is the matchups that we've been waiting for and looking for. I've never looked to see a Magic versus Black Widow fight. Ever. Never. I don't think there is anybody who's watching this video who thought, oh my god, you know what? Maybe I can get my Magic versus Black Widow fight that I've been waiting for forever, because their powers are so complementary to each other. And this was like a joke, because, in theory, this could have gone either way. Technically, Black Widow could have and should have just assassinated Magic, and on the other hand, Magic could have just thrown her down to hell, and that would have been the end of story. But, we get a little sampling of things, and I'm like, I don't know. Part of me thinks that they're not really handling Magic as a force of reckoning that they should. I think that they're holding back her true powers, and, on one hand, I understand what they're doing in the sense of you know, she's kind of aloof at times. She's not really, I don't want to say she takes things too seriously or not, but, you know, she doesn't appear to be wanting to get involved a lot. As a result of that, I can understand why they're not making her this extremely overpowered OP character. But I want the OP magic. I want this character who's going to just rip, you know, in all honesty, there's no X-Men right now that could install fear in the hearts of a villain. You can't even say Wolverine's doing that because he's a teacher now, you know, a school principal. So Magic should be the person who does that. Magic should be the person that you look at and you go, okay, maybe it's not the right time to attack. I'll go over there. You know, X Mansion to the west, I go to the east. That's the type of character that I want to see Magic turn into, and you don't kind of get that at all. You kind of get this person who's trying to be, but not trying to be at the same time, which I think is a shame. Overall, I am very, very disappointed with Versus. I think, you know, while it's nice that we get different writing teams and artists and things like that to really maybe freshen things up and to get people interested in it because of their favorite characters and then their favorite creative teams, but as a whole, I'm finding that this miniseries is a pretty pathetic excuse, as an excuse to just sell books, and it's not really that good at all. Alright, now let's talk about SpiderMen. Now, I'm sure this is a very controversial story because if you remember years ago, Joe Q goes, you know, the day that Marvel U and the Ultimate Universe crossover is the day that we've run out of ideas. Well, the day has arrived, and we get the crossover. Now, I guess you can say the one thing that is disappointing me right from the beginning is I read somewhere where Bendis said, this book has dire consequences to the Marvel Universe, and it's important. You know, I don't want dire consequences. I don't want anything like that. What I want, all I want from Bendis is to tell a good story. A good story does not need to have dire consequences in order to be good. And I think that's the one thing that I think Marvel and DC are falling into this trap where they feel that in order to tell a good story, you need to either make it a 0 issue, you need to do a relaunch, you need to have shocking revelations, and you need to have character death and dire consequences. You don't need that. I mean, there's so many good old Marvel stories. You know, going back to Spider-Man, you know, with Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. You have the John Byrne years with Fantastic Four, the Peter David Hulk years, and the Byrne Claremont X-Men years. And while there is some death and stuff like that in the Claremont Byrne years, you know, if you look at the body of work as a whole, a good story wasn't hinged upon dire consequences, a relaunch, a 0, shocking revelations. It was just a good story. And I think that's what the problem is that I'm going to have with this story is what they're doing is they're going to lead us towards this consequence. And I'm like, don't have the consequence. Just focus on the story. And basically what happens is Spider-Man's in his world, and then he meets Mysterio. Mysterio is from the Ultimate world, and then Ultimate Spider-Man gets crossed over. Now, overall, this was a decent story, but it's not what I would call a great story, because all it's really doing is it's just setting the stage for the beginning. And I'm not sure where it's really going to go. There's so many teaser pictures about this and that I just think that they're going to try to throw too much stuff in it, and I just want a good story. You know, I think it will be interesting if Peter meets Gwen and how that interaction is going to be. And I think I'm not really even interested in seeing Peter and Aunt May. It's Peter and Gwen that's going to be it. And Peter and Mary Jane might be interesting, but it's the Gwen side that's going to make me want to read it. Overall, though, and like I said, it's just average. It's just an average read, at least from the first issue. Now, if somebody would like to read it, here's your code. Here's the instructions, and here's the code. Okay. And anyways, if you have any comments or questions, let me know. Rate the video up or down, let me know what you think. Oh, and this one was just okay. This is basically a start of a Fantastic Four, Black Panther crossover. So I can't really say this issue is just laying the foundation for what's to come. Anyways, if you have any comments or questions, let me know. Rate the video up or down, let me know what you think. And I'll have more. Well, actually, we'll have new comic book day coming up. So until next time.